that may be coming into the vessel, and it may be a process of control of a fluid going out from the vessel. The process may be a very complex where n number of the process variables are there. So these process variables may be the input variables. These process variables may be in the form of the disturbance which is there, and these may be related to the output. So my viewpoint is that the process may be a very complex, it may be a very simple process. So there are the different elements are there behind any of the process. So some of the elements are very common elements are there. So the element of the process control system can be defined by the separate functional part of the system. So as you know, the whole system is consisting of the number of the sub parts, the number of the different functions. So these functions may be like the process is one of the function. Then there may be the other function, a separate function is the measurement. It may be the error detector. It may be the controller. It may be the control element. So these are the elements of the process control. In addition to that, some other element may also be there, depending upon the process to process, depending upon the complexity of the process. So these are the very basic and the common, the elements. So if you look upon the feedback control system, since you already know the fundamentals of a open loop control system and a closed loop control system. In the open loop control system, the feedback elements are generally not there. If you are controlling any process by using a stepper motor control system, okay, so such type of the control system is maybe the open loop control system. If you are controlling a fan of your room, just by looking the speed of a fan is a open loop control system. In the case of the feedback control system, you are already aware that the feedback elements are there in the form of a sensor which provide the input, and that input is a feedback input to the summing point to the error detector, and the function of error detector is to further give the signal to the controller. Now interestingly, the signals which are within this block diagram may be the different signals. So some of the signals may be in the form of a current, some of the signals may be in the form of a the physical signals like the motion. It may be the signals may be the voltage, signal may be the pulses, or signal may be any form of the signal which is flowing from one element to another element. So in this diagram, so this diagram is a very common diagram of a the feedback control system, in which the element showing is your controller. So the function of controller is a different. Then there is a need of a control element, and there is a need of a process, and from the process the measurement is taken by the feedback elements like the sensors, and it is going back to the summing point. So the different the names are giving, like the small p is the input element, control element, then u is the controlling process variable, then c is the controlled variable, and b is the measured value. So in this diagram, the author from where we have taken this diagram, they are using UCP, and it is not always necessary that these the words are always used in the feedback control system, but in most of the textbook, most of the reference books, these are generally used in such a way. So the error is generally denoted as a small e, is the error of the signal, and then R is your reference point, and B is the feedback signal. So this is just the representation, but this representation is not to be considered as a fixed representation for all the system. This is for the understanding only. It is the block diagram of a control loop defining all the basic elements and the signal involved. Now come to the physical environment, and let's see the actual the physical process. This is just one example. So in this example, you will observe that the on the bottom side there is a pipe. So this the section of a pipe is shown here in the diagram, and this pipe is termed as a flow pipe. and some of the fluid is flowing through the pipe. So the direction of the flow is not mentioned here. It may be any, but it is in this diagram. It is from left to right. It is going because it is just controlling here. So the flow of the fluid inside the pipe may be in the form of a water. It may be in the form of air. It may be in the form of a fuel, or it may be any of the fluid which can flow through the pipe, through the orifice, through the wall. If the material is supposed to be a solid, it is in the form of a sand, I think it will not be suitable to use such type of a sensor to measure the flow. So this is the physical diagram of a process control loop, and here the the how this process is working, how the actual plant uh, instrumentation is there, what is there in the plant, and how the signals are moving. This is just one example. Now objective is to control the flow of the fluid inside the pipe. So that means the input flow is your variable, which is termed as the input variable, and that variable is having some of the disturbances. Sometimes the flow may be high, sometimes the flow may be low, and sometimes the flow may not be at the input side, which is according to the require. So on the output side, there is a need of a required flow under certain fixed conditions. So in this case, how the system is working, like first the feedback element, the sensor is required. So the sensor here is in this diagram is the DP cell or a pressure cell. So a DP is the differential pressure cell. So the function of the DP cell is to measure how much is the flow of the fluid inside the flow pipe. So as the fluid is passing through the orifice plate, so orifice plate is the mechanical type of a sensor which generate the potential difference between the two sides, and that difference is having a relationship between the flow of the fluid. Now this DP cell is not only the mechanical, the system, so it is converting that is the DP cell is giving you the information from 3 to 15 psi pressure. So that pressure is actually going to the pressure to the current converter. Now the instrumentation and electronic is involved here to convert this pressure into the current. Now, why this P to I, or why you are converting this pressure into current? Because your controller is not a pure mechanical type of controller, assume. So your controller is electronic controller. It is only understanding the language of the electronic signal. So you are converting here in the industry, that is 3 to 15 psi pressure is proportional to the 4 to 20 milliampere current. So the signal conditioning as well as the data transmission is in the form of telemetry. It is the current telemetry, so it has certain advantages over the voltage telemetry, and you are converting proportionally 4 to 20 milliampere current which is going to the controller. Now the controller is your electronic device, and that electronic device is again having the input. So that input is giving in the form of a set point. So set point is nothing. It is a physically, the visible parameter. For example, some 5 units of the flow is required. So you will set the knob at a 5, but the controller will not understand the layman language. So ultimately you are converting internally 5 into some numerical values, 5 into some electronic value in the form of a current, in the form of a voltage to the controller. Now the controller is, I already told you, the electronic device may be a computer, maybe your microcontroller, maybe your single board computer, which is converting that the output uh, according to the requirement is again 4 to 20 milliampere. Now that 4 to 20 milliampere which is coming out from the controller is actually the control signal which is going to the plant. Now assume that your plant is having a flow pipe with the final control element, which is a control valve, is the pneumatic actuator. So the whole system is your plant, and your controller is giving signal from 4 to 20 milliampere signal to the plant. Now this 4 to 20 milliampere signal is actually compared by the controller, because the controller is electronic device. Assume that there is a comparator inside the controller. So you have a set point of which you are converting into the for example of a 10 milliampere is giving the set point. So as the 10 milliampere is the current which is coming from the P into I converter. So as it is comparing, the output will be high or a low, or it may be proportionally varying outside the controller output. Now this controller output is going to another electronic device, which is not the pure electronic device, but it is electromechanical device, which is converting current into pressure once again. Now from where this pressure is coming, so you need some constant pressure source. Generally in industry, the air pressure is used, air compressor is used, which is supplying you a constant clean the air which is going to the I to P converter. But that pressure which is going to the final control element is the pneumatic actuator, is under controlled manner. So how much pressure that is going to the pneumatic actuator is depending upon how much is the input current it is going to I to P converter. So ultimately, your pneumatic actuator is again the electromechanical, that is the mechanical type of a device where the pneumatic pressure is giving from 3 to 15 psi pressure. So it is you are exerting the pressure over the diaphragm of the pneumatic actuator, and finally the valve or a plunger is moving up and down, and in this way the fluid which is going out the pipe is controlled. So this is the physical diagram of a process control loop, in which the process control loop is showing you the sensor part. It is showing you the controlling element or a valve, as well as the controller, as well as the set point. So this diagram is very suitable example to understand the various components of the process control loop. The position of the sensor may be a different, either on left side or on a right side, depending upon the process. The position of the final control element may be anyone. It depends upon the configuration, depends upon the physical parameter, depends upon the structural configuration of the process. Then move to the, if we are converting similar diagram into the block diagram. So in this block diagram, so in this diagram we have given the set point. Okay, so let's see, in this diagram is we have a set point here, and the controller is having this one is a controller. So this circle with the cross is showing you the error detector. This error detector is physically a part of a controller. If you have a microprocessor or a microcontroller, the error detector is physically inside the controller, because your controller is performing both the function. It is also comparing, it is also controlling. But for the representation, we generally represent the error detector as a different unit and controller as a different unit, but it is both the elements are in a single unit, sometimes termed as a controller. So if you compare this diagram with this diagram, so there is a controller, and there is a final control element which is I to P converter, and there is a process which is a flow process, and the feedback element is the sensor part, which is a measurement part is your orifice plate. Now if you compare, the first slide is showing you the different element. One is a process, another is a measurement, another is a error detector, and controller and control element. So all these five elements are there in this diagram. So one is the controller, another is the final control element, another is a process, then the measurement, and the error detector is there. Now let's again understand what is the process. Okay, so in general, a process can consists of a complex assembly of phenomena that relates to some manufacturing sequence. So I already told you, in some of the manufacturing, some of the making of the things, you need sets of the events here. So these events are in the form of a process. In general, a process can consist of a complex assembly of a phenomena that relates to the manufacturing sequence. So many variables may be involved in such a process, and it may be desirable to control all the variables at the same time. So if this one is the example of the process in which only the one variable is there, assume the flow is only the one variable. If you are controlling the flow and the temperature simultaneously, then you may be requiring another loop. Okay, this is one loop. You may be requiring another loop, which may be termed as a temperature loop. So the process may be having many variable may be involved in the such process, and it may be a desirable to control all these variables at the same time. And there may be these processes may be termed as a single variable process, and it may be termed as a multi-variable process. If there are many variable, perhaps interrelated, or may require the regulations, so such type of the process is termed as a multi-variable process. The process is often called the plant also. So the whole process is also sometimes termed as a plant in instrumentation, because ultimately you are working on a plant where the number of the units are there. Then comes to the measurement part. So the measurement in general, a measurement refers to the conversion of a variable into some corresponding analog, uh, or sometimes the digital signals, or that is the related to the variables such as a pneumatic pressure, electric voltage, current, and digitally encoded signals are there. So the you know that the measurement cannot be done without some measuring instrument, and the modern measuring instruments are not pure mechanical type of the measuring instrument. So modern measuring instruments are the electronic measuring instrument, and naturally some conversion elements are there. If you are measuring a pressure, you may be converting pressure into some other signal, but in the electronic system there is a need to convert that pressure into electronic signal. So that means some transduction devices, transducers are required between the physical part as well as the electronic part. So in general, the measurement is refers to conversion of these types of variables into some useful signal which is required for the purpose of a control, for the purpose of analysis, for the purpose of a measurement. Now, these are termed as a sensor. Sometimes they are termed as a transducer. A sensor is a device that performs the initial measurement and energy conversion into the variation into the analog signal. Okay, it may be the digital also. It may be converting the signal into electrical. It may be converting the signal into pneumatic information, which is required for the measurement. So if you know the definition according to of a transducer from the instrumentation point of view, the transducer is a device which convert measurement into some useful signal. Now, what is the measurand? Measurand means the variable which you are measuring. So it is a device which convert measurand into some useful signals. So the measurand may be your pneumatic supply, it may be a flow, it may be temperature, it may be a pressure, what you are measuring and converting into a useful signal. So your useful signal may be a current, maybe a voltage, maybe frequency, okay, maybe any other parameter. Further, the transformation or a signal conditioning part is also required in the measurement system. Now, what happened if your plant is very large size and the process is going 100-meter away from the control room, and you are installing a sensor in the plant is 100 meters away from the control room, and if assume that the thermocouple is attached there in the process plant is as a sensor, as a feedback element, and as you aware that the thermocouple output is in the form of a millivolt, and it is very difficult to transport the millivolt signal into a thick wire whose resistance is having certain value up to 100-meter distance. So sometimes some attenuations may be there, some losses of the signals are always there. So in that case, some repeaters may be required, some amplifiers may be required, some analog to digital converters may be required, some other converter may be required. So this part is termed as a signal conditioning part. So in the process control, for the purpose of a measurement, one is the sensor, another is the signal conditioning part. But the modern, the transmitter or transducers are having a signal conditioning part on board on the sensor. So the modern smart sensors are having a signal conditioning part on board of the sensor, which are converting signal conditioning as well as the measurement part on a single chip, on a single part. Then come to the error detector. I already told you the error detector performs a crucial task of comparing the reference and the output signal. So many all the time in the process feedback control room, certain things are the desirable things which are required. So that you are giving that desire you are putting into the system is in the form of the input. Okay, that input is termed as a set point, and the function of the error detector is to compare the reference or a input and the output signal. So if the input and outputs are already in the form of electrical voltage, then error detector is simple a comparator. In the diagram given below, so the feedback signal is coming from the sensor. It is the output of the plant, and it is going back, and that signal is a subtracting from the input signal. So that device is your error detector. So if you consider the error detector as how it will look like, what is the error detector? It actually, so it is nothing but it may be a simple 741 IC, which is termed as a comparator sometime. It may be a combination of the gates also. Comparator may be the mechanical combination of certain electromechanical devices like relays. The comparator may be your single board computer like Raspberry Pi, it may be a Arduino, it may be a computer, it may be your laptop also. So what is there in the modern control system, modern controller like Arduino, Raspberry Pi? So you are controlling the output by software means. So software means you are defining certain value and you are comparing this value which is coming from the input. Suppose the feedback signal is in the form of a digital signal, and you have a microcontroller, and into the microcontroller you have a set, the set of the instructions are there in the form of a program. So that program is actually comparing the input with the set point. Assume that you are giving the set point of a 3. So what you are converting, first you are converting 3 into binary information. Then this is just one example, the output of a sensor is also coming in the form of a binary. If the binary of both the input which is coming from the feedback element is compared and it is equal to the set point, the output may be high or a low, or it may be comparable according to the requirement. So in this case, the error detector has both magnitude and polarity for the automatic control system, because the controller behaves according to the error signal which is coming from the error detector. It may speed up the process, it may be a slowing down the process, it may be accelerating the process, it may be a de-accelerating the process. So the controller is again very complex system. I hope you understand the error detector. Then come to the next point is the controller part. Now the controller part is also very important. I already told you the modern, the control systems are having a sophisticated controller, high speed controller we can say. So high speed means the internal calculation of the controller is very high as compared to the previous or the existing systems. So the controller is an instrument used for controlling a process variable. Okay. Now the process variable may be flow, maybe a temperature, maybe a pressure. Okay. So the function of the controller is to control that process variable, and it is in the form of an instrument. It is a physical structure. So that instrument, the controller, is maybe in the form of for some of the examples we are considering right now, what is controller, how the physical controller will look like. So the controller may be a single unit controller like the programmable logic controller. Since you are master student, you are already understanding the function of the programmable logic controller is a single unit controller, is having central processing unit, arithmetic logic unit, its own internal memory, and software running that controller. The controller may be a dedicated controller for particular number of the access, particular type of the input. Then the controller may simply be the comparator. It may be a transistor, uh, combination of the transistors, combination of transistors with the diodes, and it may be a simple, the resistance capacitor or transistor network with which you are comparing certain, generating something. So the controller is an instrument used for controlling process variable. It continuously monitors the error signal and give a corrective output to the final control element. Now look on once again, the final control element may be your control valve. The final control element may be your electrical motor. The final control element may be your simple lamp. It may be a solenoid valve also. So the function of controller is to give the proper signal to the final control element. So ultimately, the this is the function, and it is giving the corrective output. So corrective means it is always try to correct the error. It is always trying to correct the process according to the desirable process variable. Okay, so if you are controlling the car by using automatic automobile control system, if you are controlling the speed of car automatically, no person is sitting in the car, so your final control element in the car may be the drive unit which is giving to the car, and your controller will try to maintain the speed of the car. If you are setting the speed of the car is by 60 kilometer per hour, the controller will immediately give the action to the engine of the car to maintain up to the 60 kilometer per hour. If the speed is supposed to be more than 60, the controller will immediately deaccelerate and slows down the car. So the controllers can be classified as a analog controller or a digital controller, pressure controller, flow controller, temperature controller, level controller, like that. The different names are there with the controllers. The controller may be a dedicated controller also. It may be the single board computer. It may be microprocessor, PLC, are the different names. This is just different names, but the function of the controller is to control and they control the plant and to give the output signal to the plant so that it maintained the required parameter. Then come to the control elements. So the control elements are termed as a final element in the process control operation, is the device that exert a direct influence of the process. That is, it provides those required changes in the controlled variable to bring it to the set point. Now you are in the again, if you consider the first example once again, so come to this example once again. So this is a physical diagram of a control loop in which the one of the sensor, that is the orifice plate, is there, the P into I converter is there, the controller is there, then the final control element is your pneumatic actuator here. So look at here, near the cursor is your pneumatic actuator. Now the question is how this pneumatic actuator is working. So I would like to show you the physical diagram once again here. So on the bottom side, you will observe that a pipe is there with the flow, and this joint is there where the orifice plate is fixed here. So it is giving the flow signal which is going to the controller, and controller is giving the pneumatic signal which is going to the valve. So this valve is actually a final control element, or it is the control element which is termed as a pneumatic or a electro-pneumatic type of a control valve. So how this valve is working, you have already understand in your graduation level. So this valve is having a plunger which is moving up and down with the motion of a diaphragm which is connected here. So this shell is actually a diaphragm, and the motion of the diaphragm can be stabilized by giving a pressure from upward and the downward direction. So if the pressure on the upper side of a diaphragm is similar to the lower side of the diaphragm, the plunger will be stable at a particular location. So the plunger can move up and down according to this variation. So this type of the element is termed as a control element or a final control element. It is just one example. Your final control element may be a solenoid valve. The final control element may be a motor. It may be a DC motor. It may be servo motor. It may be AC motors. So it may be any other type of the element which is finally controlling the actual process. So this element accepts an input from the controller, which is then transferred into the proportional operation performance on the process. So this element is also termed as the final control element. So I hope you understand the function of the final control element. So look on the second line once again. The element accepts an input from the controller. Now uh, you have to make the final control and element susceptible to the control element controller. So the controller may be generating the voltage the controller may be generating, the pneumatic signal the controller may be generating the frequency. Now your final control element should be sportive, should be acceptable to the input which is coming from the controller side. So this is the end of the slide, and today's lecture we have gone through the various elements. So in addition to that, in one of the process there may be some other elements in the complex processes also. So these are the basic, the elements of the process control. So I hope you understand various process control element, the function of each and every process control element. In the next lecture we will consider some of the other principles and some of the other parts of the system.